I actually remember being in Brazil back home, and I kind of like just fell in love. And I remember it clearly. It was at the beach, and I saw this guy playing guitar, and I was just like, "Mum, Dad, can I have one?" My mother introduced me to a lot of Brazilian music. Obviously, you know, for her being Brazilian, she introduced me to a lot of beautiful music, you know, from back home. Then my dad, he then introduced me to the classics.
Guilty pleasure.
Yeah, a little guilty pleasure, because I love pop music, right?
Okay.
And how it's marketed, how it's structured, what the reason for pop music is genius.
Yeah, but who was giving you the attention though?
Females.
Hey, that's it.
Standard, bro.
The king of Brazil. Kent. So who was looking down on you? Who do you think was looking down on you at that point?
My father definitely was.
Okay.
He definitely was. My mother definitely was.
Martins.
Ladies and gentlemen, episode 3, and of course, once again, in the Korak studio, we have an amazing guest. A mix of samba stroke Finchley, a good Brazilian, wonderful individual, and this relationship started by a single DM as he requested to be on the Korak podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Brazilian king himself, Soussa.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it. How you
Well, I
doing,
like
man?
the Brazilian king thing.
Yeah, you like it. I like the
Yeah,
king of
right.
Brazil. I like it. How you doing, man? You good?
Cool, man. Yes.
Thank you for being on Korak.
Pleasure, man.
As always, Korak is brought to you BK Creative Production.
I'm here.
Yeah, he's here. And we are still not sponsored by anybody, but who knows? Maybe one day, now that we have the King of Brazil in here, we are good to go. We're good to go.
You got those numbers?
Yeah, the refresher.
Yeah, those numbers. Speak to Neymar or somebody. Yeah, come there. So, Korak, obviously, it means footsteps in Croatian, and each footstep defines, the ups, the downs, the journeys of the individual, and its destination established by that single step. So we usually start the podcast in a very simple format. Where is that destination you want to get to? And take us back to the very first step you took in leading you to that destination.
Do you mean like just in general regarding my music?
In your music and you as a person.
Me as a person? Gee, that's a very open, very broad.
Yeah, it's one of those. It has like different departments in there.
I guess where we start off with is whatever's important to the individual, right? So
Yeah.
for me, if it's regarding my career in music, it started off when I was really little. Started off when I was 7 years old. Started playing guitar when I was really little. Around that age, and self-taught, and haven't stopped ever since. And
Well, you self-taught yourself at 7 years old.
yeah, so
That is genius material, right? There. Genius material. Where did that interest even come from? Where did you just said?
I actually remember being in Brazil back home, and I kind of like just fell in love. And I remember it clearly. It was at the beach, and I saw this guy playing guitar, and I was just like, "Mum, Dad, can I have one?" And it just kind of like went from there. And you don't really realize as a kid, because you're just a child. You don't, I can assume my parents just thought, yeah, he just wants something to play with.
This is the interest for
Yeah,
now.
yeah, for now, yeah.
So let's get that for him to keep him quiet.
But yeah, throughout from then it was just constant. I never, I've always asked my parents if I can have a new guitar or want a guitar and all that stuff, and it just kind of evolved from there. And that want and that constant search for want to be better, and wanting to learn.
So you got a guitar at 7. And you say you were self-taught. So when your parents got you the guitar, you were literally teaching yourself. You didn't have
So
you have classes. None of your parents played instruments.
So I remember they wanted me they put me in a guitar class in school, and then afterwards I got really bored. I must have been a little bit older than 7, and I got really bored, and I was like, I don't want to play this. It's not something I want to do. Maybe I must have been like maybe 9, 10 years old.
Well, first of all, man, the stories that usually come out from Brazil is somebody tells, I grew up in the favelas. Yeah, I used to dodge bullets.
No,
I used to
man.
play football. You sound like this bougie Brazilian stuff, like guitars and the beach with the parents.
Yeah.
I like it.
No, but it's like, because I wasn't raised in Brazil, so I was there till I was 4, and then I came here.
Okay.
So I go back home once a year, and obviously through the pandemic, unfortunately, we only went one time. But when I was young, I used to go once a year with my family. And of course, I got a lot of family over there. So
okay, so what's the family dynamic like? Are you the only child?
No, so it's a bit intense. So I'm one of 13.
One of 13.
Yeah. So my mother has three of my siblings with her ex-partner,
Yeah.
my stepdad, And my biological father, which unfortunately has passed away, he's had.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
That's cool, man. And he's had other kids with other people, and I've managed to find them through a lot of.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's why you're the king of Brazil,
Yeah,
man.
we're out here, bro.
It's all around. It's all around.
Yeah.
So musically, obviously, you seem to have fallen in love with the guitar when you were 7 years old. Your
Yep.
parents got you a guitar. You moved here when you were 4, though.
Yeah.
And so, what was the transition for? Or why was it? Why did it happen? Why did it happen like that? What happened that you couldn't stay in Brazil?
I think it was just, well, I was a child, so my mother, I think back in them times, people want to move for, for a better life and better opportunities and that kind of thing. I guess she felt like, getting married an Englishman was the right way to go.
Who knows? Who knows?
Bro, like, it's true, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, they were married for 12 plus years, and unfortunately they're separated now. But yeah, when I moved here, I was 4, and kind of like it stayed on from there. My mother wanted better for me. There was education's better in essence.
So how did the music thing continue when you came to England? Were you still interested in guitar playing? Were you still... So it's one thing being interested in... You saw a guy playing a guitar. It's
Sure.
one thing being interested in that.
Uh-huh.
How did your general music perspective start to grow on you as a kid?
Good question.
Mhm.
So, because my stepdad, he's a lot older. He's in his 70s now. He's mid-70s now.
Shout out to the stepdad.
Yeah, and he's and my mother, she's like coming into her 50s kind of. She's in her 50s kind of thing, and the mixture of genres of music and taste of music was very broad and very wide. My mother introduced me to a lot of Brazilian music, obviously, for her being Brazilian, she introduced me to a lot of beautiful music, from back home. Then my dad, he then introduced me to the classics of international music, whether it's from America, whether it's from Europe, whether it's from England, whether it's from Australia, whatever. These amazing singers, you have Ray Charles, you have all the classics, Ray Charles, James, Stevie Wonder, all these amazing people, Johnny Cash, and he introduced me to a lot of amazing music that created what music is now. And I learned a lot about music through film as well. I'm a massive movie head, so I listen to a lot of soundtracks. So that became how that initially kind of like what started me to become interested in different genres of music.
So you seem like you're very into the entertainment world generally. So for example, you say you're a movie head. You mentioned some Johnny Cash, and like most guitarists, you're dwelled into this wonderful spectrum of entertainment.
Yeah.
What would you like as a kid, though? Apart from the fact that you automatically had the love of music.
Yeah.
Most children try to find themselves, or when it comes to music, some people say, "Oh, I always knew." Apart from your love for guitar, what did you know that you wanted to be?
Bro, before I actually even thought about becoming a musician or like becoming an artist, I was studying to do acting.
Ah,
Yeah.
So you're one of those that literally. So you're gonna be like on stage.
Yeah. So like I actually got accepted to 4 unis to go to acting school. And I declined it. I was in my teens and I declined it because I fell in love with music more.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's take a step back. So
Yeah.
4 unis and you declined it.
Yeah.
Man, I told this boy is genius material. Man.
Yeah.
Genius material. Man, learning the guitar at 7, telling unis, nah, I don't want to come to you.
It's-
My love for music is big.
Yeah.
But in between that, though, so you came to England. Obviously, mommy was with a new guy. You're becoming an Englishman or British,
British,
and
yeah.
however you want to describe it. But that love still stayed on, and you were still teaching yourself guitar.
Throughout everything, yeah. Even through school, it never kind of came out like I played guitar or wanted to sing until later on in my teens. But I always played at home. I just kept it at home. It wasn't something I thought that was doable. I didn't think about, when you watch something on TV and you see an idol that you love or someone, an artist or an actor or a painter or whatever, you say, I want to do that, but you don't actually understand that you can actually do that, become successful and do all these things. So I kind of kept it to myself and was like, I just want to play in my house and just play guitar and with the family, and that's it. I never really...
I mean, obviously, you do have some samba genes in you. So you are not interested in sports, no football, nothing?
Bro, I'm interested in like very little playing. Like I like football a little bit, but I'm not a massive football head like most of my family members. It's just not a thing.
It's a letdown.
No, bro, it's just not
Absolute
a thing. Like,
letdown, man. You're like the first Brazilian I know that is not
bro,
interested.
them man, they think about more about their hairstyles than anything else, right?
It's true.
They go out there and they just, you know what I'm saying?
That's what it is now. But back in the day, man.
But there we go. Back in the day,
Back
I used,
the
yeah, back in the day.
Mario's, the Rivaldo, man.
100,
Those guys, Rivaldo didn't even have hair.
Real football, bro.
Yeah, I mean, now the money is good though, so you can't blame them.
You might as well just be like counting every step, £1, £2, £3.
Well, hopefully you'll be counting the steps to your guitar playing and making that money soon when you become big. So when you think about it now, apart from the love of music, obviously you were not that big into sports. You were living in a new environment. What was it like, actually, if you remember, what was it like growing up in England compared to, I mean, I know you moved here when you were 4, so you don't probably have like a great, massive memory. But as you were growing up, learning your music, doing your thing with family, being a movie head, what, if you take us back initially, what, apart from the classics that your parents introduced you to, what kind of music were you into at the time?
Man, like, because of like friendship circles, I was involved in regarding music. I would listen to so many different types. Like in the UK,
what part of England did you grow up in?
I was raised in Kent.
Kent. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Kent. I was raised in Kent, and just
whereabouts?
In Gillingham.
Oh, Gillingham.
Yeah.
Gillingham. Oh, yeah.
Can we swear on this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shithole, bro.
No, Gillingham is not too bad.
It's crap, bro. It's so bad, man. It's so
not too bad. I mean, my mom used to live in Maidstone, so every now and then. Gillingham was a good night out, though.
Yeah.
It's a good night out.
I get hepatitis or something. No, bro, Gillingham's wild. I've had some amazing memories in Gillingham. You know, like music-wise, getting involved in music was a little bit later on in my teens. But listening to music, we went through the phases. You know, you went through the indie phases, the rock phases, the pop phases, all that stuff. I have like a horrible like guilt. Yeah, like a really like kind of like a little secret guilt.
Guilty pleasure.
Yeah, a little guilty pleasure. Because I love pop music, right?
Okay.
And how it's marketed, how it's structured, what the reason for pop music is genius. So when I was young, I really studied like pop music.
Yeah.
And learning that was really good for songwriting. I can't lie, it was really good for songwriting. But then you dive into other things. But yeah, I went through different phases. There's not one genre that I don't like. There's not one.
If we come forward a bit, so your EP that you're working on, Year of Changes.
Yeah.
It seems to incorporate a lot of different diversity in music.
For sure.
You seem like you're very open to learning new stuff and embracing new stuff. How is the unlearning though?
Unlearning.
Yeah, because learning is wonderful. You can always say, "Ooh," but how do you raise in Gillingham, and as you have described it, a very wonderful place, and raised there? How's the unlearning been? Because it's always easy to learn, but getting rid of what you feel is the foundation.
Yeah.
How has that been for you?
Yeah, it's probably been like the hardest challenge, because when they say, you know, the whole reason to become an artist is because you have an identity. And then you get into a point where you're influenced by so many different things, so many different people, so many different music, whatever it may be. And you then, obviously, you're piling that all together. But you're in essence, you're kind of copying things and replicating things. So to try and find yourself through all that influence is very difficult. For me, it was very difficult, you know. But I can honestly say the main thing for me is that I've always kept my heritage, my culture very embedded in it. And, you know, the reggae, the soul, where I'm from in Brazil, from a small island in Brazil.
What's it called?
São Luís. It's very roots reggae influenced.
Yeah.
And that reggae vibe has always stuck there. Especially my some live performances. This EP, it's more of a personal EP for me. It's not been anything like any other stuff that I've recorded or put out there. It's very personal, so it's a bit lighter, it's a bit more calm. But regarding some of my other stuff that I've written, it's you can really tell the Brazilian side of it. You know, you've got that soul, that jazz, that reggae feel to it. And I wanted to explore that. And with this EP, it's more of like, you know, exploring the acoustic-y kind of side of things.
Yeah, so it's one thing to say that, you know, finding your identity so what would you say your identity was? Because it's understanding that you could play the guitar. But when did singing come into it? How did you know that, you know what, I can actually sing? I mean, playing the guitar is one thing, but I can actually sing and I actually want to be a musician.
Bro, when's like the best time you like, as a singer, right, or as a musician?
Yeah, I mean, none of us here are.
The best. No, the best time where we realize, okay, as a musician and an artist, the best time that I realized, or the one time I realized, I was like, you know what, I could do this, was the attention.
Yeah, but who was giving you the attention though?
Females.
Hey, that's
Standard, bro.
The king of Brazil.
Kent. Bro, it started. Bro,
He said it didn't matter.
It stemmed from that. It literally
But
stemmed from that.
before you got to that validation point where the females were like, "Oh my God, Sousa," where does it come from? Where did you know? Oh, I can sing, and then I can actually sing in public.
Bro, it wasn't a thing like, oh, I know I can sing in public. It was more of like a small, it was reactions. You know, I was in school and I got asked to play in this little band in school and stuff. I must have been like, what, 13 or something. And we was practicing, rehearsing in break times and lunch times, you know, like really young stuff, kid stuff. And people were like, other students were looking through the door. And there were other kids playing music and stuff, but I was singing and playing guitar, and you can see this, you know, the guys were just kind of like looking through the door and stuff. That's when I was like, But then when it really kind of like got to me was when I played I played the guitar and I played some stuff with a friend of mine, and we took a video, and it is on YouTube, and we took a video of it.
We'll find it. The
whole school saw it. The school saw it. That's when the next day we came in, and the attention was just like.
Superstar.
Yeah, it was just like you get that. You know, there's always that kid that does something and everyone wants to know, and that's when it really hit me. I was like, do you know what? Maybe I should try singing more instead of just playing guitar. Yeah. Maybe let me try singing more.
So when you go back in memory, do you remember the first song you actually performed? This is after the ladies were into this situation.
The first song I performed, it was a cover song, and I recorded it with a very old friend of mine. And we done like this little duo, and we started gigging around Kent. But we recorded a cover, and it was from Two Door Cinema Club, Undercover Martin, and we recorded that, and it just from there.
Do you find, and so a lot of people that grow up in smaller towns, so particularly not London or the big towns or the cities like Manchester, do you find that it is easier? So for that validation and you being good at what you do, so. Does the word spread around faster in Gillingham? And does that give you the confidence and do gigs just start coming? Is it easier?
No, because I don't think it's easier. It depends on how much work you put in it. Like, you know, we were going around asking people, where can we play? You know? And then afterwards, from that, you know, unfortunately, that little duo kind of like, you know, unfortunately fizzled out.
Everybody starts going into different things.
Yeah, they get into their lives and stuff. We get a bit older and people start doing different things, but I continued doing that, and I started doing my own thing. I started putting on events for myself, not telling anyone that I was putting on the events, and then putting myself as the headliner.
Why was that? No confidence or just...
No, it was a tactic.
You didn't want people to see you as...
Not even. So it was more of like, how do I gain the attention of people who don't know me without letting them know that I'm putting these things on? So I kind of became like a secret promoter, secret event organizer. I put on these small shows. I remember the venue called Poco Loco in Chatham. I remember it was one of my fondest memories of doing these events in Poco Loco. Multiple times I kept getting, and I made friends with different artists, you know, through the years. And I was like, look, I'll come to an event that I'm going to be playing on. I'm headlining. It'd be great to have you on, kind of thing. They've asked me who's interested, and I'm inviting you, kind of thing. And I made a small like little list together of artists. Made the posters by myself. Went on Facebook. Stalked every event organizer that I didn't know and knew to see how they did it. Yeah. And then I started doing it myself, but I never told anyone that I was putting on these events. They're like, oh, who's putting on this event? I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I just got, it was someone of it.
Well, you were giving them the mystery of the unknown.
Exactly.
So like,
but then,
find out.
But because I was putting myself as the headliner, after a little while, there were people coming, who the fuck is this kid constantly headlining stuff? Like, who the fuck is, like, who is this guy? Yeah. So then, from then, I got involved. That's how I branched into London. From then. People will invite me to come on, like, you know, from BBC Introducing, Reload Sessions, YouTube Hub, like all these different things that came about.
Where does the hustle spirit come from? One of the things I wanted to find out is, so when you moved and your mom got remarried to an Englishman, and you did mention they were together for 12 years, and then they split up. How did that affect you?
When they split up, it fucked me up. I can't lie. I think it fucked all my siblings up. Me and my 3 sisters. I think that's a normal thing. When you go through it, as a child, when you go through a separation. When your parents go through a separation and you witness that, there's a difference between witnessing it.
Was it a bad separation?
Well, yeah, it was a really bad separation, man. You know, it's the simple ones, isn't it? It's the story that's been told 1,000 times, you know, abusive household, violence all the time, that kind of stuff. And you realize that, you know, how much you love your parents together. And then when they split, you understand how much that hurts you. As you get older, you understand how much that hurt them. Yeah. So that whole aspect of... witnessing myself and my sisters witnessing that separation, it affected all of us in different ways.
Did it derail you in any way in terms of music, academic, school, any of those? I
think it became. Do you know what? I think it becomes very difficult. It's a conflicting time because you don't really know what the fuck is going on. Because, you know, my mother went away. She left when I was 14 for 7 odd years and didn't come back.
She went back to Brazil.
Yeah, and didn't come back, you know. And so all those emotions of, you know, of wondering why that happened, you know, when parents do those kind of make those decisions, you ask like, do they still love you kind of thing? You go through those, you know, the normal human reactions, I suppose.
Did you rebel? Did you buckle
100%.
down?
Yeah, I rebelled the fuck. Like when I turned 18 in Brazil, came back, I was like, fuck you lot, fuck off. Like I don't give a fuck. I'm leaving. I left my dad's place and moved to London, and that whole rebellious stage, it really is, and it still is in me. I don't like that idea of. I love the idea of learning, but I don't. When someone's looking down on you is what I hate.
So who was looking down on you? Who do you think was looking down on you at that point?
My father definitely was.
Okay.
He definitely was. My mother definitely was. And obviously I made good decisions and not so very good decisions, bad decisions.
I mean, you were still a teenager.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but the process of my mother being absent and my father being absent, in a sense, because I left home, we didn't get along that much around them times. And leaving, you know, I went through a whole phase of where I was just making decisions based on what I thought was best, whether right or wrong.
How were you surviving at the time? Well, is it just music?
Bruh, no, yeah, well, at the time. So I done a lot of music. Music was pretty much like my whole full-time job. I was working, I was going through different events, and I had management, who's still my manager to this day. He waited for me for a long time, and he's very loyal, and
What's his name, man? What's his name?
His name's Paulie.
Shout out to Paulie,
Shout out
man.
to Paulie, man.
It's always a big thing when people actually look at you and see potential, and they wait and they're patient, and they're happy to actually let that blossom. And then you're going around and doing your thing, and he's like, when you calm down, I'm here.
Yeah, like there's been some times, man, when that hustle mentality, like you said, like it's always been in me. Like I've never been able to stop and be like, I want to keep a 9 to 5 because that's the way to go. Like it doesn't make sense to me. And I had to find out different ways to make money, regardless of how much money. I still liked the idea that I was in control of what I wanted to do, like most people. But we get trapped in that, you know. But Paulie was one of those people that really believed in what I'm capable of, and even, you know, in the future what I'm capable of doing. And he's just always saying, look, I believe in what you're doing. But there was times where I really was fucking up. I had to take responsibility for fucking up my own career sometimes.
For example,
like there's been stories where he's like, Richard, do you remember when we went to the Sony building and we had a meeting with Sony? And I was like, no, because I was so high on drugs.
Mad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the rebellion part actually took you into snuffing stuff or drinking too much or doing all that good stuff.
It wasn't the rebellion. It was the separation of my parents, and that whole situation like traumatizes people. Like as when you're young, when it happens to you young, it's different when it happens to you when you're a bit older.
So one of the things that I like to understand, obviously, Korak Footsteps, is understanding the different ups and downs. You were at an age where you could have easily created a foundation that would have derailed you.
Yeah.
But obviously, your love for music, and you had in Poly, you kind of had like somebody that was there letting you know that, look, you can do big things. How did you detach yourself from actually staying down the junkie lane and just ruining stuff? How did you get off it?
If I'm being honest with you, it was through meeting incredible people that saw more for me than I saw for myself. And also, get off drugs and things like that was with my ex-partner. You know, taking how she took me seriously at the time. You know, she was like, look, this isn't for me. If you want to get to know me, I'm not on this. It's not me. And I was very interested in getting to know her. So realizing all these people around me saying, look, you got potential, you're amazing, you're doing this, you're doing that, like you're gonna fuck it up, and then realizing, do you know what, the only person that can change this situation is myself. And I've always used that, like regarding anything, for myself, other people. We're all addicts in a sense, but the only way to help an addict is if an addict accepts that they need to change. I can tell you 100 billion times that you need to do X, Y, Z, but if you don't accept that you got issues and you need to change, then you will never change. So that's kind of like the attitude that I took, and it wasn't easy.
I mean, speaking about your ex-wife, as you said.
Yeah.
Speaking about your ex-wife, where did you meet her?
At university.
Uni.
Yeah.
So you did eventually go to uni
Yeah.
after turning down 4.
Yeah.
So what uni did you go to, and why did you go to that uni?
I went to University of West London literally to, if I'm being deadly honest, it's just a piss about at the time. I didn't take it seriously, man. I didn't, because I understood like what they were doing at the uni. I was already doing. So, and
What were they doing that you were already doing?
so they were, you know, obviously you got lecturers there and they're telling you how to get into the music industry, and then I was already in the music industry making money.
Yeah.
You know, I was already writing, and I was
How much money were you making at this point, bro? It's always interesting when people say I was making money. So
Yeah.
to me, making money means you were making a living. That you could I had
Yeah.
enough money to
I was-
live. I was
yeah.
paying my rent. I was good,
Yeah.
and I was into the music. So you were already making money. So you just went there to go. You know what? Let me go and have a university degree or something.
100%. So I was gigging about 4 to 5 times a week for a good few years. It was in essence my full-time job.
Yeah.
For a gig, I used to get about 300 and something pound, and that was maybe for about an hour, 2 hours.
My God, where were you gigging, man? I feel like I need to sing now.
Yeah, I
All
was.
of a sudden.
Yeah, so I was doing shows and I went to festivals. I wasn't playing like little gigs, you know. Played to quite a few thousand people. I supported some amazing artists. I've been lineups with some amazing artists, like, you know, and
No, name drop, bro. Name drop. Name drop. No, name
You
drop.
know,
Yeah. Name drop, please. Let us know.
yeah, like JP Cooper, Sam Henshaw, Roxanne. She was a grime artist at the time. Man, Jacob Banks. I've been
All
involved
these
with-
names, people. You
These
can
are
be on
big
Korak
names.
if you
yeah,
want.
you know.
If you want. Just saying.
No, but yeah, it's I was around some amazing people. Played with Amy Winehouse as guitarist, and just being around.
That's a special one because you're not the first person that's mentioned Amy Winehouse guitarist. I've had a few people, man. I don't know the name of the individual, but
Yeah,
a lot of people have actually meant that he or she must have been really good.
He was Lincoln. He's awesome, and we met once, and it was a club. It was a venue called Floripa, and it was an amazing experience, you know. Also going venues, you know, like playing at Ronnie Scott's, like one of the most
Prestigious, iconic
like,
places.
and I got invited to play there, you know, and performing there was an incredible experience.
So you literally went to University of West London to piss about.
The fuck around, yeah, and obviously that's not the right attitude to have, but you know, I was
So
already.
what were you studying? What was you?
It was music production, yeah. And I guess in the back of my mind, I kind of wanted to make my mum proud or my dad proud, I guess, because of the fact that I didn't go to university, and they were so like, why didn't you go? You're stupid, you're foolish. And then, you know, for all these years, I was, you know, struggling, going ups and downs, making money, not making money. And I was like, you know what? Let me go to uni and, you know, figure it out. And yeah, and I guess that was just kind of like a validation, I suppose.
So your ex-wife was in your class?
She was actually in 3rd year. I was in 1st year.
Oh, you like them a bit experienced.
Because I came into uni a little bit later. So my ex-partner, she was in 3rd year. She must have been, I don't know, 22, maybe 23 or something like that. And I was
So
like
she
24.
gave you like a turnaround. She gave you a reason to. She was like, "Look, I'm not into this stuff. If you want to be with me, or if you want us to be serious, you need to change a lot of stuff." And that was like the click.
It was a click, yeah. Like I said, not just her, just and other people that cared about me, you know, who I'm still friends to this day. And, you know, them making sure that I understand that I have an opportunity to make something of myself, and I'm wasting it away like so many other people have, unfortunately. And just making that decision is the most vital part, you know.
So what was your relationship like? Well, you mentioned your 3 sisters and how everything was a bit sore when the split happened. What's your relationship dynamic like with your sisters? I know you said your mom and your dad are like, yeah. But what's the relationship dynamic with the siblings?
It's a touchy subject, but like I told you, I'm open to, you know, whatever. Because a lot's happened, like I said, it's my ex-wife. Because a lot's happened through my life in the past 10 years, would I say my relationship with my siblings here in the UK are stable? I wouldn't say it would be. I would say it's somewhat civil, and there's many reasons for why it's kind of, you know.
Any reasons you want to talk about?
I'm not going to get too deep into it, but, you know, unfortunately things happen, and we have to learn through this process of and gaining experience going through the process of making mistakes.
Yeah.
As much as I've made mistakes, they're going to make mistakes. I can't crucify them for making mistakes and making judgment calls that make no sense. So they all learn as I've learned and learning, and hopefully our relationships will get better. I love my sisters to death,
What's your position? Are you like the last,
I'm
the
the
first? Are you the oldest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, oh man, king of Brazil, man. It's a lot of pressure on those shoulders.
Bro, it's
Oldest.
and it gets like that, man. It gets like that. But you got to learn how to do things quietly. It took me a long time to learn that.
I mean, I wish I could tell you I'm the last, bro. So
Are you the youngest?
I play the baby card till now.
Oh, bro.
Till now, man. I'm forever gonna be baby. baby. Yeah, I play the baby card, man.
All the time.
I mean, the firstborns, man. You guys have it tough. I'm not gonna lie.
Nah, bro. It gets mad.
For me, my parents had sex at the right time.
Yeah,
At the
no,
right
bro.
time.
For me, it's tough, man. It gets tough sometimes, because you're constantly being looked on, and that's fine. And because you have to learn, you have to go through it. You have to learn that you have responsibility and pressure, and you have to make the mistakes whilst you're learning that.
So listening to your music, and it gives me a very good perspective. So the very first song of yours that I heard, and I've played that song and repeat many times. I remember I messaged you. I was like, Point of View. That song is classic. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, Souza will be performing at the Korak live music event, the very first one. And of course, I'm hoping Point of View is going to be part of the story he's telling. But you seem like there's a lot of, I don't want to call it just based on love stories, but there's a lot of emotion in your music. There's a lot of emotion in music. And does this emotion, and of course, love being one of the emotions, does this come from all the situations that's happened in your life?
Yeah. So I found out, because I don't go to a therapist. I tried, but it just didn't work out for me. Some other things worked out. I tried a different approach, and I found out.
What approach did you try? For those that struggle with going to therapy.
Yeah. For me, what happened was I don't like the idea of a stranger not knowing who I am. The only person that knows who you are is you, and the acceptance of understanding.
I mean, that's arguable though.
In what sense?
Because some people, you might see yourself in a particular light.
100.
But doesn't mean that's what the situation is. Like, for example, you were a guy with loads of potential, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't see it.
Uh-huh.
Other people saw it for you.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure you would have sworn that I know what's best for me.
Yeah. But then who took the action to make that change?
Yeah, but you took the action based on the perspective that other people had seen.
Right, but then we have to understand this. To be able to have people telling you, because anyone can tell you anything. Doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. But you yourself know what's right or wrong. Yeah.
Yes.
So then you have to act upon what you know is right. Your consciousness is what tells you.
For example, if I come to you and I say, Souza, personally, I think you can beat Anthony Joshua up. 2 or 3 months training, you could be the heavyweight champion of the world. Yeah. That's rubbish. That no matter the perspective, even if I had it in a dream, don't go do it, bro.
Yeah.
Because where you end up, only God knows. Your glasses will end up being thicker.
Yeah.
But you, for example, you were blending into the music world. People recognize the talent. The people that were closer to you got to see, because it's one of my favorite adverts ever. There's a former FBI guy, and what he does, he was doing a thing for Dove's like the soap stuff.
Soap, yep.
Yeah. And what happens is 2 individuals will meet each other. Then I would ask you, Souza, what do you think of yourself? Then they will ask me what I think of you. And 9 out of 10 times, the people that spoke to the individual and talked about the individual, they saw loads of things way better than the individual saw about themselves. And then they played back the video. And then people were like, wow, this is... And the killer point was, they even asked for looks. How do you see yourself? Some people were like, oh, you have a big nose. And the same person that said I had a big nose, somebody would go, he has a very nice shaped nose. And when they showed the picture, because the guy was using the description of other people and the description of the individual to draw a picture, they looked alike, but you could see that the description of the other ones was so wonderful compared to when people were talking about themselves.
Yeah.
So now, the highlight, you're right, you take the action, you make the decision, you do all that, but you do all that when you finally see what other people see in you. So initially, your identification of yourself, I'm not saying it's wrong, but you're not ready to see what other people see.
For sure. But that comes with experience and time.
True.
So as a young person, you know, when you're in your young early teens and so, you don't know nothing about that. So you have to take people's word. That's why when people say they get insecure, because they hear too much what people say. Like you just said, they think that their nose or their way is weird because why? Not because they're thinking it's weird, it's because they've heard someone tell them that it's weird or that doesn't look good. So this is what I mean about then you understanding who you are and your consciousness of yourself. Because later on down the line, as we get older, we know what's right and wrong. We know what's good and bad. We know what's beautiful, what's ugly. In you know, quoting that in a certain way. Everyone sees these things in different ways. But for yourself, as you get older, you know who you are. Your insecurities can overshadow and overpower your actual opinion of yourself, but who you are, you know who you are.
Once you accept it, though.
For sure. I'm working at a 9 to 5. I'm working in an office space, but behind closed doors, I'm the best freaking saxophone player in the world has ever seen. Yet the reason why I don't do it is because my mom and dad told me that this 9 to 5 job is the best thing for me and stability is the only thing that I need to worry about. So the idea of understanding who you are is the majority of the time is covered by so many layers of the word that's used too much around it. Trauma, bad experiences, bad relationships, bad connections. So when we start layering these things, because no one talks about the good stuff, because that's the good stuff.
Yeah, because the good stuff is supposed to be deemed as normal.
Right? So then when you've got the bad stuff that's covering up and hiding everything, who you actually are, you then don't question who you really are. You just focus on the bad crap anyway.
So my question for you is, based on the situation and people actually telling you that you are something good and wonderful, and regardless of all the things that were happening in between,
Yeah.
when did you then realize to accept what other people were saying in terms of the good stuff?
Yeah.
Break the barriers of whatever you have been told. And when
Yeah.
you decide to actually chase what it is that you're chasing now?
Well, repetition, you know, I love watching movies and biopics and things like that. I started to realize that, like I'm going down the same road as all these other amazing musicians and artists and creatives. They fucked up their whole life because they made the same decisions that I've been making. I'm now having to understand that we have the power to change how our life goes, right? Sometimes we become so blinded by what we think is right, what we think we want, and we don't actually realize that we need to be doing the things that we need to do for ourselves to make ourselves grow. And we start mixing it with shit that shit doesn't make sense. Oh, I want nice things, or I need to get some sort of validation from people. No. Like, you have to understand that you are actually good. You don't need to, in essence, you don't need to show anyone that you're good because you're already good. You're already good. Everyone's good at something. So for me, realizing, okay, I need to make that change, was understanding that the path that I'm leading is to self-destruction. I'm literally destroying not just my career, not just destroying my relationships with other friends, family, whatever. I'm destroying my life. I'm going through a process of literally where everything is being destroyed, and it's doing it in such a slow way that I can't even see it. People can see it, but I can't see it.
Yeah, because sometimes you're blinded by situations around you. You have 2 beautiful daughters, and there's a post on your Instagram once where you say you see them and you burst into tears and they make you the man that you are. So, of course, your daughters came from the relationship you had with your ex-wife.
Yeah.
Why, if you could put it down, because you mentioned, learning, unlearning, getting into different situations and blending it, because I literally feel this in your music. When even the songs that you sing in Portuguese, I don't understand Portuguese, but you can. I've been a music head for a long enough time to understand the emotions that go through it. Why did it end up being an ex-relationship? I mean, you guys created 2 wonderful individuals. One of them is going to be a singer. I can tell, just so that you know.
Yeah.
Looking at that picture, I can tell. I know which one is, but I'm not going to tell you. And, she's going to be on Korak. I'm just said that time Korak was big.
Come on.
But why did it end up being ex? And considering the fact that she led you to a path that was good, so what then happened?
I'm not gonna get into in massive details, but we both made mistakes. I made mistakes. Ones that I now understand that if you don't have control over yourself in different aspects, you can destroy everything. But also mistakes that she made as well, it catered to it being destroyed even more. She had the power, in essence, to make this work. But unfortunately, it's not what she wanted. I don't blame her for any decisions she's made. Like I said, we're in this life to learn, right? And sometimes you've got to swallow that pill that you fucked up, And what hurts the most is that, like I said, my two girls, they are now slowly understanding what's happened.
Yep.
And not what's happened, the reasons why we split up, but the reasons why, mom and daddy are we're not living together, or, daddy's living here, mummy's living there, and we can only visit daddy this and that and all that kind of stuff. So as they're getting older, my oldest, she's going to be turning 7 this year. She's slowly asking the questions that a child would ask when they start gaining understanding of certain things. And that's what hurts me the most, is the fact that I've gone through the process of seeing my parents divorce, never wanted my children to ever experience that in their life, and they've experienced that at such a young age. And that's what hurts the most, because I know that they're hurting.
Oh, hey guys, sorry to interrupt your episode. I hope you can please subscribe, hit that notification button so we can get more and wonderful, incredible guests, and you can continue to listen to the Korak Podcast. Till then, more thanks. Go back to the episode. Well, all you can do is be that great dad and, teach them things that they don't have to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
And how do you navigate that, though? We're trying to, you're pushing your music, trying to create albums.
Hard, man.
How do you navigate that? Being a dad, being a boyfriend now, and just living life. How's that navigation? A lot of people talk about balance. I believe that, considering the fact that you're chasing a particular situation, how do you actually balance it in your life?
That's a really good question. How do we balance it?
If there is a balance.
As men, we have to balance it.
We have to.
It's not a question. It's not really a question of how do we have to do it. If we don't learn how to do it, we aren't capable of being able to hold on, like you said, the weight of responsibility as a big brother, as a father, as a boyfriend, or as a husband, or as a whatever, as a son, as a cousin. Like, we, as men, we have to be able to deal with the magnitude of multiple stresses that we see through life. Regardless what anyone else says, or whatever they think they know, if you're not a man, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So to be able to understand what we go through, we can only talk to the people that understand what we go through. So men go through the same shit. We go through the same problems, but in different quantities. Maybe something that's not as stressful in my life could be massively stressful in yours, and vice versa. So for me to be able to handle the stress levels, I just dive into it, bro.
Well, you take it on.
I dive into it. I have to learn how to... I always say the 3 downfalls of a man, right, is not being able to control his ego, his pride, and self-control overall. It could be about finances, could be about women, could be about business relationships, could be about whatever, your mental state, whatever. Self-control. If you can't control these 3 things, at least one of these 3 things, if you don't control one of these, it all collapses. If your ego gets in the way, you fuck everything up. If your pride gets in the way, it fucks everything up. If you have no control over yourself, it fucks everything up. We're emotional sex. As men, we're very emotional. We just have to learn how to control it. Because I guarantee you, if we acted on our emotions, everyone's underground, bro. So for us to be able to understand that we have to deal with this stress, we have to dive into it. There's none of this. Life doesn't throw you like a life support system. You just dive in. You have people that are around you, they say that they're there until the real ones actually come. Because when the hard times come, bro, everyone obviously already knows, the norm is people flee. But the ones that stay, you hold on to them. And I have a very, very, very small circle, bro, that's not even 5 people.
You need to create space for me.
Yeah, yeah. Come on.
I'm blessing.
Come on, bro. God, come on, bro. and it's that for me, I will treasure that for the rest of my life, And the stress that I've gone through, and there are men that have gone through even more stress than that. I put myself sometimes in that position, bro. You can handle this because there are men that have been able to go through harder moments than you have. Learn from it.
How do you navigate that? So, like, point of view, as I said, I've listened to your album, or the point of view people, please check out that
Appreciate
song.
that, man.
That is the song I put on, the Korak, performance that is coming May 30th. Buy your tickets, people. So, as you have said, you dive into the situations, you handle the emotions. You're a man, you have to be a man. And you have your circle that supports you, that puts you through, that follows you through all the situations. For your music, though, how do you dive into that? What gives you? What's the belief? How do you write your songs? How do you?
I think that's a different process for everyone. Through therapy, we didn't really touch onto it. How I kind of got into it was I started writing things down in a journal.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? The therapy thing's not working out for me. Someone told me, look, try writing it down. So I started writing. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Whatever comes out first, comes out first.
Yeah.
And I started writing, and I actually started writing about my mother. So my issues, a lot of issues that I have personally, have stemmed from my mother. That was
In what way? Stem from her in what way?
I've had multiple relationships when I was in my teens. My mother left when I was 14. I've witnessed some crazy shit that my mother's done, and in her marriage, and that built a massive barrier over me to not trust females at the time.
Okay.
The idea that, do you know what, I'm gonna do this before she does this to your partner is wild.
So you literally walk into situations or relationship thinking
It's gonna go fuck. It's gonna go.
Yeah. So you already see there's an end here.
Yeah.
But before it ends, let me make sure I protect myself.
100%.
So typical example is if you go into a situation knowing that if you think you're in a relationship with a girl that might cheat on you, well, you cheat on her first.
100. That's how I used to think.
Yeah.
Bad boy, bro. I've regretted so much as I got older, and then when I had my children, things even just before my first one was born, things hit me so hard, like it really hit me in the face. So many mistakes, and we continue to make mistakes, but so many things that I'd done when I was younger, I was like, I wish I didn't do that. But then you realize that, okay, accept that things have happened, and you experience certain things, and like I said, experiences, they make you do certain things or react in a certain way. But then after that, you've got to take accountability as you get older, And there came a point where I was like, you know what, I had to apologize to a certain few people, regardless of how long ago it was. Certain people have come to me and apologized about certain things that I was like, whoa, But that whole experience of the traumatic experience of how I used to see women was a massive part of failures in my past relationships, and it was because of my mother. And thank God that now I've learned how to overcome that, surpass that.
And how did you do that? How did you overcome all of that?
The experience is the main thing, man. I can't say to someone, don't do this, because one, they potentially are going to do it anyway, but two, the only way to learn is to go through the fire, right? It's the only way. It's inevitable that a human being is going to make mistakes, fail, have defaults, have flaws. It's inevitable. So it's difficult for me to say, how did I do it? Because I had to make the mistakes to understand what the right and wrong is. Without the wrong, you don't know what's right. It's the yin and yang situation. We have to make the best decisions based on the circumstances. And if there's no one there also to guide you, it becomes very difficult. What do you say to an 18-year-old who's madly angry at his parents, and then he leaves his house and has no one to guide him or guide her, anyone else in the same situation, and you're just left in the city of London, and then you start making money, and then you start becoming around all these amazing people, bro? You're gonna do stupid shit, and it's not an excuse. It's just the reality. People do this on a day-to-day basis until they come to something that makes them realize, I want more for myself than this.
When you eventually have kids, it's a very big pivot moment in anybody's life. So you tend to see things differently.
Yep.
And from what I understand, I don't have any kids yet.
Yep.
I don't have any kids that I know of yet. But do you, number one, so you have two girls.
Yeah.
You obviously see life differently when you have kids. And people talk about there might be a difference when you have a boy or when you have a girl. considering the fact that based on you were doing stuff, you mentioned your mom was the reason for a lot of things. What is your perspective now that you have two girls? How is that? How does that shape you?
Understanding that when you have parents, you're watching them grow. I understand that when I was watching my parents, they were growing up.
Okay.
And when you're growing up, you're making mistakes along the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to tell my kids that their dad's constantly making mistakes. I want to tell them that daddy's trying his best, mummy's trying her best, and you need to try your best, making sure you do the right thing as much as you possibly can. Sometimes you're forced to do the wrong thing. Sometimes you're forced to make a mistake. Sometimes inevitable. But as long as they see that I'm constantly trying and my energy is constantly building something better for them, for us, that's what matters. Everything else, when they see, you know, as they get older, they will ask questions, and I'll have to be open with them about, you know, the relationship that I have with their mum, and parts of my life and things like that. As much as they get older, they all ask questions. I've got to be open. They have to be prepared. The one thing that I got very frustrated at when I was young, and even when I got a bit older, was my parents never prepared me for life.
What did they prepare you for?
They didn't prepare me for anything.
But when you say they didn't prepare you for life, in what aspects
No
do
aspect,
you feel?
in every aspect. Like when you have my daughters, right? As they're getting older, they're only 7. My oldest one's gonna be 7. My youngest is 6. Sorry, I beg your pardon, 5. At what point do I sit down and tell them through the chapters of their life that there's going to be boys that are going to be coming and be interested? Your body's going to change at some point. You know, you're going to want to take care of yourself because you are a young lady. You're going to have to go out. There are bills to pay. You need to make sure you find a job. Do you know that there are taxes out there that you have to pay? Do you know that you have to save your money to make sure that you have some sort of backing for you, some security a little bit? But also understanding that whatever you want to be, as long as you love doing it, I'm going to support you. Never had that. So everything that I didn't have, I want to give to my girls. Whatever they want to be, my kids are in extra activities after school. They're getting into mixed martial arts, they get into music lessons, dance lessons, gymnastics, they're doing everything. Because myself and their mother were like, everything that we wanted to do that our parents weren't able to or didn't do, we want to give to them.
So you're giving them that option to explore life and to teach them.
Exactly, because if it's like I said, watching biopics and watching and reading about people that have become successful is the best thing. But then when you read about people that have become successful and how they then help their children to become successful is a whole different ballgame.
Footsteps, baby. Korak, baby.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Well, so your experience in life has taught you and given you, a lot of elements into what takes into your music. So I'm going to ask you though. You're a bit of a cheat code because, being when you have samba in your system, the whole Brazilian flow, Portuguese, and blending it up with, English and all that good stuff with your music. So you're releasing an EP this year.
Yeah.
And so when should we expect that to be coming out?
I'm looking, because my birthday's in July, so I'm actually working on this EP with one of my two closest friends, and Andrei and Paige, shout out to them. I love them to death. Amazing artists, creatives, the best that I know, and they've been helping me through this process and they've been through the process of a lot of things this past year, and recording this EP has been an awesome experience. It's been it wasn't slow. It's been well managed, and finalizing this EP will just be such a blessing in my life because of what is on the EP, what I've written about, and some of the feedback I've got regarding some of the like little clips that I've shared. People have reached out and said this is the one, or this is the one that we think is going to kind of mark you, because I've never been able to approach an EP like this with such comfortability and been able to be so vulnerable in it. And regarding this EP, I want to release it in July around my birthday, and I haven't got an exact date yet. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to when that's out. Definitely will be something that I'll probably cherish for a long time, because it's a very important one for me.
You mentioned how you used to love pop, and your guilty pleasure was pop. What is your favorite genre of music today?
I didn't have one, man. I love everything, man.
No, gun to your head.
Go into my
Gun to your head. You need to pick one.
If we're talking about what feeds the soul kind of thing,
Yeah.
Brazilian music for me is...
What is Brazilian music?
It's too many so
I mean, explain it to the layman. So I've never been. So according to research and stuff,
yeah,
if you trace it back, like my family comes from, like they said, trace back to like Brazil stuff. It's a funny story considering the fact that I'm Nigerian, but it's very up down. My grandmother was from São Tomé, so there's a lot of some Portuguese flows. However, Brazil has loads of elements. A lot of people know it for the samba, the music, the football, which you didn't seem to get. But but generally, what is the music? What is Brazilian music? What is the go-to music in Brazil?
Well, you have to remember that Brazil has many states, so every state has its own identity.
Okay.
And
how many states in Brazil?
Oh my God, I can't. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me, bro.
About to take
Google
his
that,
card
bro.
away.
Google that. You got to Google that.
How many states in Brazil?
No, there's a lot of states in Brazil,
away.
man, and every state has an identity.
Yeah.
And when my mother started talking to how many?
26.
26. There,
26.
You go,
There you go. 26.
Cut that, bro. No, so there's 26. Okay, so there's 26 states in Brazil, and unfortunately, I haven't been able to visit all 26 states. I wish I could.
Yeah.
But the ones that I have been to, they all have their own identity in music. But Brazil as a whole, they celebrate every type of music from Brazil, whether it's African influenced, which is massive. You've got calypso music, that kind of stuff. You've got ballet funk, which has come from the ghettos of Brazil. You've got forró, which is from the north part. You've got...
I actually used to do... I had a friend that was a very good forró dancer, so I used to go...
There we go, bro.
The beautiful thing about it is, you go there, nobody wants you to stand.
Yes, no, you can't do that.
You're not...
No one stand...
what?
You go to a club or a bar or a venue, whatever, you can pick a stranger... Excuse me, você quer dançar comigo? You want to dance with me, kind of thing? They're like, yeah.
And that's the
No
first
issues,
time.
man.
That's the first time a girl came up to me and said, "Do you want to dance?" And I'm there thinking, "Bro, man, she fancies me." Nah, she doesn't.
She just wants to dance.
She just wants to dance.
Yeah,
and
man.
I was like, I don't know how to show. Like, yeah, that's fine. And then she just walks out like, okay, she doesn't fancy me. Everybody's dancing. So
Everyone.
It's like that. They have that spirit for her and things. It's nice. I like it. So, you're like a bit of a lover boy when it comes to your music stuff. Yeah, you're like serenading you with a Portuguese
man's got
/ English, and roadman talk. I like it. So, how welcoming do you think Brazil will be to your music?
I can't lie to you. I've played in Brazil just a few times, and every time I've gone, they're like, "You need to stay here."
As in, you're good.
Yeah,
we want you here.
Yeah, you need to stay here. I was offered a contract when I was young in Brazil. My mother was like, "Nope, you're going back to the UK."
How young? How old were you?
Ooh, 15.
So you first of all, you do agree you're lover boy music kind of stuff.
Bro, I don't say that it's because the Loverboy stuff, like I told you, the music that I write, is when I found out what I started writing about, because I was writing about love stuff. A lot of love music that I write is very love, emotion, connection kind of thing. And then I was like, but they're just coming naturally. There was no subconscious of like what I was writing about until later on I found out, oh shit, this is about my parents. And then I was like, and then I went back and I listened to all of my music and all the songs that I have on my phone that I haven't released yet. And I'm like, Jesus.
So were you writing music hoping this was the relationship you wish your parents had?
It was a bit of both. It was about what was happening, what they had, what I wish they had, the reality of what was going on, And now I've you become more aware. Now I'm writing music for me, not for them, for me.
So will you ever get to the point that you trade everywhere else and just go back to Brazil?
Yes.
And take the rightful throne?
100%. Yeah, because I really do believe that, I went to Brazil recently out there for my cousin's wedding. And playing.
I saw it, bro.
He got the opportunity to play with Banner.
Those suits were
Yeah.
nicely tailored.
It's cold.
I saw
innit?
some other nice looking things.
Yeah.
Other than the suits.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, but just say, you
Man
look,
was
you look good.
freeing, bro.
Listen, I wasn't stalking. I was just looking.
No,
just looking.
bro, it's wild. Like I played out there and I played at, you know, he gave me, he's like, bro, like no, it wasn't scheduled for me to play. He's like, bro, play. And I played, and then literally, because no one knew I could play there other than some of my family, but even my family members never seen me play. And they were like, you need to stay. You need to do this. Like if you stay here, you'll be big.
So is this more of a manifestation / validation thing? So because if you have two contracts, one that makes you tour Europe, stay in Europe, and then you have another contract, one that makes you tour, you know, South America, Brazil, and eventually the world, which one will you take?
I'll probably take the South American Brazilian route. It's what I'm connected to the most. So, and it's who I am, and it's very much, you know, when we play on the 30th, when I play there on the 30th of May, and
Buy tickets, people. All tickets are available.
you know,
Buy it. Come see Sousa. Yeah.
and it's gonna be people understand it more, you know. So that the idea of me going back to Brazil for a while is definitely in the works and in the pipeline. I think about my children before any of it though. I want to make sure that it's either they come with me or we're going back and forth. But
Your ex-wife, she has some Brazilian roots, doesn't she?
no, she's Angolan and Mozambican.
Yeah, so she has some Brazilian
Yeah.
roots. That's fine.
but yeah, she's So there's loads of things that we have to be worked on, and yeah, man. There's a lot of opportunities. Let's put it that way. There's a lot of opportunities, and it's just making sure that I try to make the right decision and the best decision possible.
When you're in the UK, what do you miss the most about Brazil, other than the weather?
Everything, man. I always say the one thing maybe the way I talk and the way I dress, but I always say the one thing that is British about me is just my passport, bro.
And
Because-
the way you sound.
That's what I said. The way I talk and the way I dress.
Yeah.
That's it. Because obviously you can only adapt to your surroundings. You know. So the way I talk is very Kentish, and and mixed with a bit of London.
From
but
Gillingham.
then how I dress is completely, you know, but what I eat, how I live my life at home, how I am, what I watch, what I consume on my day to day is always Brazilian like stuff.
With your diversity, though, is there a genre of music you really want to collaborate with? So in the modern world now, pop
Yeah.
is always pop, Afrobeat is pumping, dancehall is there, all stuff. Is there a specific genre that I really want to touch this?
Not really, because I pride myself in being able to dive into a lot of different genres. That's why when I done a lot of session work around Notting Hill, I was able to go into a studio. You know, I've done some work in Metropolis and stuff like that, and I managed to go into a studio and be like, we want to do a pop song. I want to do a reggae song. I want to do an R&B song. I want to do a soul song or a jazz song. I can do that. It's not an issue. Session musicians do that. But then it's different when you're trying to then do it for yourself, like trying to write songs for yourself. You've got all these different types of genres. So what do you do? But then I love that. I love the fact that I've got an EP that is a mix of different things. And there's nothing really that I don't want to tap into because I know that I'll tap into it anyway. Just make sure it's at the right time. But for now, I just really pride myself in doing what I'm good at, which is, you know, playing acoustic music and playing soul music and Brazilian reggae music and stuff like that.
Obviously, the splitting of your parents and other situations in life, you've touched on the difficult moments. Musically, what's been the most difficult thing that you feel that you've gone through?
Musically?
Yeah.
Musically, understanding that it's a business. When I was young, I didn't realize that. You're naive. It's music business. So there's music and then there's business.
Mm-hmm.
So not everyone wants the best for you. Everyone wants from you. People take advantage. You know, I've been signed before and gone through multiple different avenues with people, and you learn quickly that people out here are really out here to take the fucking piss. So it's like, you know, people will take from you. And if you're good, you're more in the target in the line of fire kind of thing. And when I say good, I don't mean like you're the best. No, as in like you're good. You have what's the word of it? You have let's say a future in your capabilities. You can see that there's growth, you know. And if they see that, they see the long run, they'll take advantage of that. I didn't understand that. when I got into music, I just thought that everyone was happy to see me. You get paid, you play, do some collaborations. No. People are hungry out here. People are hungry out here, and they want to make money, and they want to, if they want to collab with you, it's because they want something from you, or that people are out here making money moves, and people are out here making moves that benefit them, and it's tough to find genuine people in the industry, in this particular industry, because everyone wants something.
What attracted you to the Korak platform? Because the reason I asked this is you're only the second artist that has actually approached us here in Korak and said, I like what you're doing and I want to be part of it.
Yeah.
Big shout out to another brand. Shalama Baker was one of those. So what did you see that we were doing that you felt, I like what you're doing and I want to be of this?
It's actually what we're doing right now, because it's great having the performers, having artists coming on, different artists that haven't been on your platform or haven't been part of the event or whatnot, and people get to know them in an artistic way. But then when you put them in a scenario like this and you ask certain questions or personal questions, you don't just get to know them for the artist, you get to know them for the person that they are, they are.
You do realize when you perform on the day, I'm going to be asking you some questions before you sing.
Oh,
right?
come on, man, I'm down. They'll see this and they'll kind of get the picture of what I'll...
So it's one of those, we go into the questions.
Yeah.
Your music tells us what we want to listen to, and
Sure.
Boom. So prepare yourself.
I'm down.
I'm a bit more energetic and more high-spirited.
But I love that, though. I love the fact that you want the people to know who the artist is. I think people get very into the, he sounds good or she sounds good kind of thing, and then forget everything else. Like, okay, even though it's an upcoming artist, how did they get to this point?
You hear that, people?
How did they get to this point?
Subscribe.
Yeah,
Get
for
down.
sure.
Sousa's told you.
Was it?
All good. We like it. 30th of May, it will all be good. Now, this is the point that everybody always looks forward to. Everybody wants, they just love to hear his voice. This is the part where BK Creative himself asks you a question. Yeah, so this is like a pivot. So I'll let BK ask his question.
Do you know what? It's hard because I think the way you've articulated yourself through this podcast, I don't really have any questions. But I think for me,
why do you always start with this? Why do you say that? I don't have any questions.
But it's called, what do they call it in therapy, where you're wasting time to get to the question? I'm not actually doing that, but people might think I'm doing it. My question to you is, obviously, being in a space where, or being in a space in your life where, like you said, you didn't ever want your kids to go through what you went through, but now, obviously not blaming anyone, but they're going through it now. What are the steps that you're taking to make that process for them not as hard for them as it was for you?
Yeah.
That's my first question. Then I'll ask a second one after. But
the one thing that I realized was being present. It's very hard to be present, especially when you come into a situation where you're separated from the mother of your children. To be present as a man, and you're not looking after the kids full time, that's hard, because you got work, you got bills, you got all that kind of stuff. You got to pay child maintenance, the whole shebang. Yeah. And then how can you tell your work, I need time off because I need to go see my kids? Like, well, bro, you can use your holidays or something to go see your kids. I don't do that. I don't take that kind of shit. I'm just like, time off, got to see my kids. I don't ask, So the importance for me was I need to be more present, and it's hard at the beginning. It really is. For any fathers out there who's separated from the mother of your children, to try and find time at the beginning for your children, because someone just pressed the restart button in your life. So you gotta go, you're moving away, you're changing house, you're changing jobs, you're changing everything. It's restart. So how do you find time to go see your children whilst you're rebuilding something that's already been built? So for me, it's being present, because unfortunately I didn't feel that when that happened with me and my sisters. I didn't see that. So being present, being a present father or present mother is vital. They need to see me more, So yeah.
And in terms of your music now, the goal for you, like, I like to ask the question because I like to kind of see what people's mindset is towards music. If you were to get to the point that I've done what I needed to do in music, what does that look like for you? It can be monetary, it can be status-wise, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you?
My joy comes from the connection I have with people when I'm on stage. When I see people's interaction and how they respond to when they listen to me play and listen to me sing, their response is what kind of like gives me that boost. For me, I just want to be a successful touring artist. I want to be able to do shows. I want to be able to go to different countries. I don't care if it's played on radio. I don't care if it's charted. There's so many artists in the world right now that you have no idea who they are, that you have no idea their name, where they've come from, what they're singing, what language, and they are making bucks. They are making cheddar. They're making money because they're amazing at what they do. They perform live and they tour. They go to different countries. They go to different festivals. You don't know who they are, but they're very successful in what they do. And that for me is a perfect scenario. Being able to play music constantly live. For me, if you can't play live, I don't really rate you like that. That's just my opinion. If you're not able to play live, but you can play on a record, it just doesn't make no sense to me. So to be able to really execute live and you're good at it and you can be successful through just playing live music, going to gigs, festivals, is what I want to be able to do.
Well, speaking about playing live, man, Souza will be Korak Live Music, the very first event, Thursday the 30th of May. So please, people, get your tickets, come down, and let us see him perform live, tell us his story through his music, and get to know the individual. It's been a blast, bro.
Been good, man.
It's been a blast.
Could have gone on for hours.
Bro, it's wild. There's every question you guys are throwing at me, I'm like, I wish I could talk about this, and we had the time and whatnot. But yeah, it's been an awesome.
Well, it is called Korak, which means footsteps. So the more the footsteps you have, you can always come back for another
100,
one.
man.
100%. Episode 2.
Episode
Come
2,
on,
and then with good things, we need that Brazil trip, don't we?
Oh yeah.
This guy.
we need that Brazil trip. Once we get there, you can go. That's fine.
I need the Caprinas.
Yeah.
Come on, Red Caprinas. Yes, man. I made some of that the other day. Come on,
see, there you go. We'll bring some.
Next time, 100.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. There you have it. You have the lovely Richard Souza in the house, and of course BK Creative. Please watch, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Tickets are out for Thursday, May 30th, Korak Live Music Event. Bond Fate Brandy House, E17 6PH. Please, people, be there. It's been amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for being on Korak. And, of course, as you said, more footsteps to come. And all those name dropping you were doing with Coopers and all them guys. There's a space for you. For now, it's goodbye from BK Creative.
See you guys in the next one. I almost didn't know what to say.
And, of course, our wonderful guest, Richard Souza. Where can people find you? Let them know. Looking at the camera.
So Instagram, souza.uk. Find me on Spotify as well, Souza. TikTok, souza.uk. It's all there. And EP will be out in July. So looking forward to that. So just keep your ears out for that. Date will be coming soon. Just got to finalise a few things, but date will be out soon.
Just look there and say, see you on the 30th. Get your tickets.
Come on, 30th, bio. It's there. The tickets links are all there in my bio. 30th of May. Playing some stuff from the EP, playing Point of View, because obviously my brother, he wants me to play that. But yeah, it'd be great to see you guys there. Make sure you get tickets. All the link stuff in my bio with you guys as well. So it'd be amazing to see you guys there.
There you go. So it's goodbye from Mr. Souza. And of course, I'm MC Sabi Boy, people. It's been a blast. More times.